What's going on, y'all? It's your boy HD MMA back at it again with another video. Today we are going over my picks and predictions for UFC Sacramento, headlined by Anthony Hernandez and Gregory Rodriguez. I thought this card was going to be in the Apex. For a second I thought this card was in the Apex, but they are in Sacramento, in a crowded arena, so that's going to be good. A little switch up from the Fight Night Apex Arena. I know they're trying to like redo this shit and get the crowd bigger and bigger and shit like that, but it's never going to be really as good as a full crowded actual arena. So yeah, but overall pretty decent card. There are some sneaky bangers like Leon Douglas, Mauricio Barboza is on the card. Anthony Wint is on the card as well. He's pretty. If you saw the Contender Series, the fights he's gonna be in are gonna be fireworks. So yeah, we got RoboCop, Anthony Hernandez headlining the card. We got Renier de Ritter in the co-main versus Roman Fraud Lidze. We got some other sneaky bangers on the card that I can't really remember. But yeah, we're going to get it started off with Chanel Dyer versus Elise Reed. I'm trying to get this video kind of done and over with because I am running late. It's a bit late where I am, so I'm trying to get this over with and uploaded. So yeah, we're going to jump right in. Chanel Dyer versus Elise Reed. I'm going with Chanel Dyer in this one. I think has the power advantage on the feet. I think she has a explosivity advantage on the feet. She's 7-1 in her career. She's coming off a KO win over Ravina Oliveira that happened in England. And yeah, I think she's gonna be overall the more dangerous girl that's gonna be on the feet in there. Elise Reed, she's pretty decent on the feet, but she keeps her hands to her waist a bit, and she likes to pop shots. She sort of likes to piece you up, whereas Chanel Dyer, I think she can fuck a girl up on the feet, whereas Elise Reed is gonna piece a girl up on the feet. She doesn't really have that much pop in her shots. She's like a bit of a more technical and like a tiny bit more athletic, like Shauna Bannon, that's her name. Like she has her like similar style, but she's like a tad bit more athletic, a tad bit faster when it comes to her hands and her kicks. But I think Chanel Dyer is going to be able to walk her down, not respect the power that's coming back at her from Elise Reed, like the jabs and straights from Elise Reed. I don't think they're going to get the respect of Chanel Dyer, and I think Chanel Dyer is going to be able to walk through those shots and eventually land a big punch on the chin of Elise Reed and put her down and put her away. I'm going with a first round. No, I think like an early second round KO for Elise Reed, for Chanel Dyer. I mean, backs her up to the cage, put some power, put some mustard on the chin of Elise Reed and puts her away. And also, to add on to my point, Elise Reed just lost her most recent fight by KO against Denise Gomez, who's also a powerful girl for the strawweight division. So I think Chanel Dyer over here can replicate that in her own way and put away Elise Reed. So yeah, going with Chanel Dyer, round 2 KO, puts her away with some big powerful shots. So yeah, in YN or in YS Alliance fashion. So yeah, moving on, we got Wes Schultz versus Jackson McVeigh. I'm going with Jackson McVeigh in this one. I'm picking him to win by a round 1 TKO. These guys are pretty similar in their builds and in like kind of the way they fight, but Jackson McVeigh has a bit more aggression on the feet. He has a bit more pop in his shots. He's a bit more of the physical entity out of the two of them. And yeah, I think he's going to be able to get on Wes Schultz early, who is very sloppy on the feet. He is a bit like unorthodox, but he has no form in his punches and is primarily just a grappler. Likes to pull bottom, sort of like, has a very vegan, uh, vegan friendly sort of style where he sort of just accepts bottom position and accepts getting beaten up until he like can come back in the later rounds and fluke you with a sub. And Jackson McVeigh, I don't think he's gonna be going for that. I think he's gonna come out looking to fight. I think he's gonna walk across the cage, be the one that's pressuring, be the one that's going forward, and eventually put some mustard. Although it might not be that hefty kind of mustard. It might be some light mustard, but it is mustard. At the end of the day, I think he's gonna go across the octagon and put that mustard on the chin of Wes Schultz, be able to hurt him, and be able to put him away, and maybe get like a sub off that, latch off the sub after Wes Schultz is hurt from like a combo, like a right hand that Jackson McVeigh put on him, and get him out of there with that. So yeah, I'm not too too enthusiastic about the sub, but I do think he's gonna be able to hurt Wes Schultz pretty early into the fight. Defend the grappling as well, since he is a bit bigger than Schultz. We saw like Schultz's win against Benson Johnston, his most recent win, where Johnston was defending the takedowns early from Schultz and defending them pretty easily, despite him being like a 5-1 guy. Just being more physical than Schultz, that does help you a lot with defending his grappling and his wrestling threats. So I see McVeigh doing that early, being able to defend those takedowns if they come his way from Schultz. But he's not going to be as inexperienced as Johnston, and not going to be as like just green and just as shit as Johnson was. He's going to be able to take advantage of those positions and put away Schultz in them. So yeah, I'm going with Jackson McVeigh. Schultz pretty freaking harmless on the feet. And yeah, I think Jackson McVeigh can take advantage of that and put him away. So yeah, Jackson McVeigh, round 1 TKO, walks across the cage, defends the takedowns, lands some combos on Schultz and puts him away. Moving on, we got Gage Young versus Stan Dursonville. Yeah, that's how they said his name. I watched the fight from this guy, and I kind of forgot how to say his name. But Stan Dursonville. Yeah, I'm going with Gage Young in this one. I think a split decision for Gage Young. He's pretty good, Gage Young. He's pretty technical with the boxing, with like the leg kicks as well. We saw that in his fight against Thiago Moises, his most recent win. But he is pretty small for the weight class. He's pretty small for 155. Gage Young. He doesn't really have, although he's young, he doesn't really have that physicality to him. And these guys at lightweight are just like a tad bit bigger than him. We also seen that in his Thiago Moises fight, where Thiago Moises, when he was able to get his hands on Gage Young, he was able to take down Young and sort of muscle him down to the ground and control him up against the fence. Whenever Moises like successfully closed the distance on him, but Young did like piece him up and did like did land combinations on him and did like kind of style on him on the feet. So, and that's why he won the split decision off like the strike numbers and like the damage and stuff. But Stan Dursonville, he has a pretty similar style to Moises, but he's a bit more aggro, a bit tougher on the feet. He's a bit more durable than Thiago Moises at this point in Moises' career. And he is like pretty he does have fairly good grappling for a YN Alliance member. and he is like gritty and he can like push the pace. Um, I do think Gage Young is better than him on the feet though, like a way more technical, way better at like picking shots and putting together combinations. That's why I'm picking him to win this fight. But Dur or Dor Sinval can make it pretty gritty with his grappling and with his toughness and with his willingness to go forward and like sort of land volume shots, and the fact that he is bigger than Young as well is going to be a factor for him. So I see a very competitive back and forth sort of like fight where Young is like finding this range and piecing him up on the feet a bit, but Durson Val is like he's shooting takedowns and he's pressuring Young up against the cage and he's like getting him in the clinch and stuff. And like a lot of the parts of the round, but Gage Young like sort of defends the takedowns and defends like most of the grappling and gets back to the feet and like lands good combos on him, but Durson Val still like pressing forward. So I see a very competitive fight between the two of them, but I see Gage Young getting the decision based off like damage and significant strikes and like leg attacks and stuff like that in like just being able to land more shots on Durson Val. So yeah, I think it's gonna be a great like back and forth sort of war where Durson Val's like gritting through it and toughing it out, and Gage Young is like getting worked a bit with like the pressure and the pace because Young doesn't, although he's like very pretty with like the boxing and stuff, he doesn't really hit that hard. He doesn't really have too much pop in the shots. So I see him being able to like just piece him up, piece Durson Val up, and keep him off of him a bit, and maybe land some like big shots in between here and there that sort of alleviate the pressure of Durson Val a bit, but Durson Val still like presses forward and still like tries to push the pace a bit, but it gets edged out by the striking of Young. So yeah, Gage Young split decision. Just goes through like a edges out with a back and forth sort of war where he stuffs the most of the takedowns and lands most of the shots on the feet. So yeah. Moving on, we got Mauricio Barboza versus Ryan Coos. I think that's how you say that. Or Cousay. I'm just going with Coos. I'm going with Mauricio Barboza in this one by round 1 KO. Mauricio Barboza made his debut not too long ago on the I think it was the Canada card that just happened, the Mike Malott Burns card where he made his debut. Crazy knockout he got. Massive left hook KO. This guy's got crazy power in his hands. Breaks for fucking hands almost. And he has very tight boxing. He's very good in the pocket. Very good at giving leverage on his hooks. And they're insanely powerful. And Ryan Cousay, he has some decent striking, decent grappling here and there. He's not too much to write home about, but he has a similar style to one guy Barboza fought in LFA. That's sort of like long guard, wide stance, using a lot of footwork, like sort of throwing a lot of like pitter patter shots out there. He does Kusa does that a lot on the feet, and Barboza ended up just kind of walking him down, landed a massive uppercut on him when he got him up against the cage, and then ended up putting him away. So I'm picking him to do that in this fight as well. I think he eventually walks down Ryan Cousay, gets him up against the cage, uses that like sort of Mike Tyson kind of style where he like goes like, you know, peekaboo and like pushes him up against the cage, mixes in some kicks as well. Barbosa's kind of good at doing that where he gets you in like the mindset of like, oh, we're just boxing, and then he'll throw like a high kick or like a body kick or something like that, to sort of throw you off and then get back to his boxing game plan. I think he'll do that, mix it up a bit with the kicks, and then eventually just walk down Cousay to the cage, land like a left hook around the guard or like an uppercut that puts down Kusei and puts him away in the first. So yeah, I'm going with Mauricio Barboza, round 1 KO, massive punch he lands on Kusei and puts him away. Moving on, like I said, there's some sneaky bangers on here. Chris Padilla versus Nasrat Hakparas. Nasrat Hakparas, he's coming out of the grave. He's raising from the dead to fight Chris Padilla. Maybe he can't afford rent in the afterlife or something like that after his last fight. But yeah, coming back, he got resurrected. Someone got his reboot card and he's coming back against Chris Padilla. Yeah, I'm going with Chris Padilla in this one by a round 3 TKO. Chris Padilla is coming off a draw over Marquel Medeiros, I believe his name is, who was also fighting on this card as well, higher up the card. And yeah, he fought a really tough, gritty fight where he put a pace on he put a pace on Medeiros. Was stepping in there big with elbows. Medeiros was like fighting him with it, like going in with it and fighting him. But it was overall like the pace of Padilla that sort of like got him ahead, and that was his like redeeming factor in that fight. And I think he can do the same against Nasrat Hakparas, who is a guy who sort of goes into center and sort of looks to land like big punches on you in the center, laying that like big left overhand on you. Since he is a southpaw, it just lands like tries to bomb you over the top with big left hands. And Padilla is very good at moving forward and pressuring, and that's sort of Hakparas's weakness. We saw that in his like Dan Hooker fight, mainly where Hooker was just pressing him, throwing teeps at him, backing him up to the cage, and just overwhelming him. And Padilla has very good Muay Thai. He's very good at chopping that teep. Has very good elbows as well. That's something he does very good. Is throw elbows off the counter and pressing forward. He has very good like combos. He can keep a pace on guys. He really does like sort of break guys. If they let him go forward and don't disrupt him, he does like go forward and just breaks guys with pressure and pace as well. We saw that in the Ishmael Bonfim fight, where he just walked down Bonfim and overwhelmed him and TKO'd him in the third round. And I think he can do something similar to Nasrat Hakparas. Back him up against the cage. Use those teeps, use those elbows. Fight your way into the pocket. Use the clinch as well. Overwhelm Hakparas and put him away in the third. So yeah, good stuff. Not good stuff, but fucking. That's how I see Padilla winning. Putting a pace on him, walking him down, and putting him away in the third with a flurry of punches. Maybe he starts it off with like an elbow that cuts Hakparas. And freaking Padilla just swarms him from there. So yeah. I don't know if Hakparas is gonna be the same after that Quill and Southfield KO. I don't know if he's gonna be like more hesitant or more tentative, or just like not sort of like lose the will to be in there and sort of be even more overwhelmed and even more like sort of just wary and trauma-full, I guess you could say. Just be even more cautious and be even more like prone to shell up and not want to throw whenever he like takes damage or whenever someone puts it on him. So yeah, or he probably has like trauma from that high kick, and whenever someone faints that he like freaks out and gets real open. We don't know how he's gonna be, so yeah, I'll go with Padilla for that one. Moving on, we got Kennedy Ezechiel versus Shamil the Blob Gaziev. Gaziev, he's come out of his freaking slime hole. He has Gaziev, he has a part-time job as like a World of Warcraft slime. He's popped out of the game, formed into this person that we see here today on the ESPN website. And yeah, I think he's gonna go out there and UD Kennedy Ezichukwu. I'm going with Shamil Gaziev to UD Kennedy Ezichukwu. Um, yeah, Gaziev, he's pretty underrated. I know he's a meme, and I know he's been like slimed out and stuff like that. But he's pretty has some pretty crafty hand speed. The where he like KO'd Thomas Peterson and Kennedy Ezichukwu. He is just very ass. Like his last fight against Buchecha, it was so just like low level, very like also like stupid fight IQ from Ezichukwu. He's just like a sort of just a human punching bag where he'll just put up his high guard and take shots just endlessly from guys until he either gets KO'd or somehow he can like they wear themselves out just hitting him and he can like sort of come back in the later rounds. Like how he did against like Carlos Ulberg and how he was kind of doing against freaking Buchecha, where like Buchecha would take him down and he would even get Ezichukwu down, but Ezichukwu would like reverse him because they were both so tired, but then he wouldn't throw anything at all, and like he would just just stand there at range and shit. It was just very like a very low output sort of style that Ezichukwu has, and I think Glaziev can like find right hands down the middle on Ezichukwu. I think he can. What is on my carpet? I don't know what that was. I think he can find right hands down the middle against Ezichukwu. I think Gaziev can put a flurry on him. I think he can just like. I think even Shamil Gaziev, the way he's built, can output and out volume Ezichukwu with just how Ezichukwu fights. It's so low volume. It's so just like he's like damn near statue maxing out there. It's just like just Easter Island head maxing, just very stationary, very low output kind of guy. And I think Gaziev can out volume him, just land more than him. Hurt him a bit with that, that straight right hand that Gaziev has, and yeah, just be the one at the end of the fight that just has more strike numbers. So yeah, I'm going with Gaziev to do that. I think he can also take Izuchukwu down if Gaziev wants to do that. I know if it goes to a fourth round, Gaziev's fucked. Like he's absolutely cooked. But I think in 3 rounds, even a guy like Gaziev can freaking at least get like 2 rounds up on Azuchukwu and freaking like sort of coast in the third, get his breath, and freaking get the fight off that. So yeah, Shamil Gaziev lands more than Azuchukwu and gets the UD off that, like a 29-28. Both guys are like just heaving at the end of the fight, heaving for air. That's how I see it going. Moving on, we got, this is the headliner of the prelims. It is Jamal Emmers versus Le'Veon Douglas. I'm going with Le'Veon Douglas in this one, by a round 1 KO. Jamal Emmers, he is kind of crafty. I gotta close my door. Hold on. Sorry about that. Yeah, like I was saying, Jamal Emmers, he's pretty crafty. He can mix in the grappling well, when he fears he's in danger in the feet or on the feet. But I don't think it's gonna go that far with Emmers. And Douglas, he is a straight up just killer out there. Massive power in the hands. Maybe the most powerful dude in the weight class right now. He throws absolute bombs. Every punch from him hurts, even down to the jabs. Um, he just has like unreal power in his hands. And I suspect on this fight, or in this fight, not on this fight, in this fight, if it stays to in like an extended period on the feet, and Emmers can't like sort of get the takedowns to mix it in, which I don't think he'll be able to. Douglas, he does train at Bloodline, I think it is, Bloodline MMA with like Cub Swanson and stuff, and I think they recognize his Leon Douglas's potential star power, and I think they're gonna be training him pretty good out there as well. And they've also got some crafty grapplers out there as well in that gym. So yeah, I think Douglas is gonna be able to stuff the takedowns of Emmers, keep the fight on the feet, and on the feet, I mean, Emmers is just a bobblehead ready to get just ready to get bounced up and pieced up and wobbled up against the feet and stuff like that, up against the feet or on the feet by Douglas. And yeah, I think Douglas can go forward, stuff those takedowns if it comes to it, because Emmers, when he senses there's too much danger on the feet, he does like to shoot. We saw it in his fight against Hyder Emil, where he sort of like respected Emil too much on the feet, didn't want to go there or didn't want to keep it there, and he took Emil down and controlled him. But Emmers on the feet, he does like to sort of like get into the brawl or get to brawling and sort of get into the pocket. And if he does that against Douglas, it's gonna be bad. It's gonna be bad. Yeah. So I'm picking Leon Douglas, round 1 KO. Stuffs the takedowns, hits massive jabs on Emmers, and eventually lines up that right hand to put Emmers down and put him away. So yeah. Moving on, we got the first fight on the main card opening up, and it is Anthony Wint versus Terrence Chapman. I'm going with Anthony Wint in this one, round 1 KO. If you saw Wentz fight on the Contender Series, which you should absolutely be watching, the Contender Series right now is absolutely on fire. If you like violence, it is a no-brainer to be tuning into the Contender Series. But Anthony Went, he main evented the first episode of the new season. Went out there against a blob with a similar shape to Terrence Chapman over here. Walked across the cage, damn near sprinted across the cage, landed massive shots on the guy and put him away. Extremely, extremely quick. I think it was like under 2 minutes or under a minute or something like that. But yeah, I just walked across the cage, put him away. Former football player, this guy is. Extremely fast, extremely explosive, extremely athletic. Light for the weight class. And uses that speed advantage very well. He's not that tall, but he is very built and has a ton of fast twitch muscle on him. And yeah, he goes out there, very like loaded up, very fast movements, and I think he's gonna be way too quick for Terrence Chapman. Terrence Chapman, he does plot around. I've watched his most recent fight where he was just, for like the first minute, I think the first like 2 minutes, both the guys were just like plodding around, stepping around, just rocking back and forth as modern heavyweights do. And I think Terrence Chapman can get in there early, I think Went can get in there early, walk Chapman up against the cage, put some speed on Chapman that he's never really seen before in the weight class, land big shots on him, and put him away very early. I think it's going to be early round 1 KO, under 2 minutes for Anthony Went. Just walks across the cage, puts speed on him, puts power on him, and puts away Chapman in the first. So yeah, maybe Chapman could get in there. He has some some decent hands. I think he trains at 4 Ounce Fight Club with Joshua Van in them. But but yeah, I think Went's gonna be too explosive, too powerful, too fast, too light, and yeah, I think it's gonna be way too much for Chapman. So yeah, Anthony Went round 1 KO. Moving on, we got Carly Jadis versus Jalisa Chavez. I think that's how you say her name. I'm going with Carly Judis in this one by unanimous decision. Carly Judis, she has very good striking, very good Muay Thai, mixes to the body and the head very well. Just very educated on the feet for a lady. And Chavez over here, she does have some good striking as well. She is like she's a bit less like I don't know how to describe it. She's less technical than Janice does for sure, but I think she has a bit more sting in the shots, like a tad bit more. I think she's a tad bit more fast switch than Judice, but I think she doesn't have enough outright power to like hurt a girl like Judice or hurt another girl with just one shot. She can damage you a bit. She does like to keep the fight on the feet for the most part. But she doesn't really set up her strikes that well. Doesn't really like sort of pop the jab. She just kind of just goes in the pocket. She is very very open on the feet at sometimes. She likes to just she does like to step in with like she likes to say at like kicking range, and she'll like step in with like a big right hand or like a big elbow that's very sort of obvious and easy to spot for her opponents, and that gets her into trouble sometimes with like the grappling and stuff. But yeah, I think Jadis can see those openings, find her range and keep Chavez at like kicking range or outside of range, and piece up Chavez with combos to the body and the head with the teep, and just sort of school her and sort of masterclass her on the feet with her, in my opinion, better, more advanced striking know-how. So yeah, this is open stance as well. So like the rear kick for Jadis will be open there as well, and yeah, I think she can out overall just on the feet outpoint Chavez, outstrike her, outland her, and do that to a unanimous decision. So yeah, maybe Chavez can put can put some sting on her early and sort of like back up and get Jadis to respect her on the feet for a bit, but I don't really see that happening. I see Jadis being tough enough to take the punches of Chavez and exploit the openness and the sort of like riskiness on the feet that Chavez presents, and take advantage of that and outstrike her. So yeah, moving on, we got the featured fight, and it is Marquel Medeiros versus Mason Jones. We are Mason Jones fans. We will watch every single fight Mason Jones has in the UFC until he's out of the promotion. And we are picking Mason Jones to win this fight by unanimous decision. Mason Jones is sick as hell, man. Sick as hell. Tough as nails. Great fighter. He's like a crafty, like even like he's like a crafty like blockhead that has like a bag of tricks. Mason Jones is. He's very hard to put away. And yeah, I think he'll be able to get this one over Marquel Medeiros. Medeiros, he's very technical. He's young as well, but he's not that big of a lightweight, and he doesn't really have much power in his hands to, I think, even hurt Mason Jones. I think Mason Jones is going to be able to walk through the punches of Marquel Medeiros, back him up against the cage, pressure him, sort of do what Chris Padilla did to him, to Medeiros. I mean, just back him up against the cage and pressure him. But I think Jones is going to be able to land more powerful shots on him, be able to mix in knees as well, Um, just sort of mix in a craftier bag of tricks than Padilla was, with more toughness and more willingness to go forward. And I think he'll be able to get in Medeiros' face, stay in there, and eventually hurt Medeiros. Just make it overload him. Pause. Hit him with that girth and tonnage. We never seen anything quite like it. You know it, and I know it. Um, I think he can get in there and bust all over Marquel Medeiros, and Medeiros wouldn't have experienced anything like it. So yeah, I think Mason Jones can pressure him, outvolume him, outstrike him, land knees, land damaging shots on Medeiros, um, and eventually overwhelm him to a unanimous decision. I'm thinking like a 29-28 Jones. Jones like comes back in the second and third, because Medeiros can really put him away, with his shots, and just overloads him with that girth and tonnage. And yeah, I guess gets a UD off that. So yeah, Mason Jones, he does, sort of typically likes to build into fights. He does like sort of start. He starts a bit cautious early. Then when it goes, he starts just going and going and going. So yeah, when he gets going, he starts going. And I think that's also going to happen in this fight. So yeah, Mason Jones, then decision 29-28, wins the later rounds. Yeah. Moving on, we got. Oh no, that wasn't the featured fight. I forgot. Freaking mate, Sergey Spivak. I forgot he's on the bloody card, mate. Yeah, this is the featured fight, and it is freaking get this adjusted. It is Rainier de Ritter versus Roman Fraud Lidze. I'm going with Rainier de Ritter, de Ritter in this one, by unanimous decision. Rainier de Ritter moving up to light heavyweight. The cut for middleweight is a bit too much for him. He was a really big middleweight, and he's also old as well. He's 35 years of age, going on 36. So yeah, he's getting unk status pretty easily, even though he doesn't look like it. But yeah, I think he's gonna be able to win this fight over Roman Fraud Lidze, who is just a fluky blockhead that can stay in there and land some big shots on you if you're careless. We saw it in this fight against CLD, where he like sort of dropped CLD momentarily, cause CLD is kind of like that way. But yeah, overall, Fraud Lidze, he doesn't really have much, doesn't really have a game plan when he goes into fights. He sort of just relies on himself to pull guard and sort of fluke like an overhand on you if you like get near him and get into the clinch in some kind of exchange. But I think De Ritter, it's a bit too he's like too goofy for that, almost. Like he's a bit too goofy to like get fluked. You kind of have to be sort of more technical, a lot more technical to fluke him. And I think I think De Ritter won't really be there for like the wild overhands of Delidze, and I don't think he'll play into the game of Delidze like pulling guard on him, and like I think he'll even like sort of go into the guard and welcome that, because De Ritter is very good on the ground, very high level jiu-jitsu De Ritter has. And yeah, I think he'll be the one getting takedowns on Delidze. He'll be the one pressing the action, pressing forward. He'll be getting in the clinch, throwing knees in there. The dirty boxing from De Ritter is it's very good as well. And yeah, I don't think he's gonna be out at range on the feet where Delidze can maybe like fluke a right hand or something like that when De Ritter is like on the feet a bit or at range a bit. And yeah, I think he's gonna be pressing the action, pressing forward, putting the pace on Delidze. I think he's gonna be I don't know if he's gonna be faster, because since they're both sort of middleweights that go up to light heavyweight. Or Delidze is that as well. Doreto's gonna be permanently moving up to light heavyweight. So since Delidze is like a sort of in between kind of guy in middleweight and light heavyweight, I don't think Dorito is gonna have like the speed advantage on Delidze. But I do see him having like a volume advantage. Um, just a clinch advantage. Um, a cardio advantage a bit. Because Delidze does fade pretty heavily in the later rounds. We saw that against freaking Anthony Hernandez and stuff like that. And yeah, I think Dorito is going to be able to do a similar thing to what Anthony Hernandez did to Delidze. Um, in there, maybe not like standing fucking racism choke his ass out, but yeah, just put the pace on him with the clinch, get him down with the takedowns, or maybe even like sub him. I can see like a TKO with like a knee from Dorito, or like even a sub from him when Delidze is like a bit tired out and stuff like that. So yeah, overall, I see Dorito taking it home in the second round as well, um, and getting it done from there. Moving on, we got Sergey Spivak, mate. He's a great fighter. I fought him not too long ago, mate. He's a great fighter. Tell him I love to fight him another day. We got Sergey Spivak versus Vitor Petrino. I'm going with Vitor Petrino in this one. Spivak, he's one of the other certified Eastern European gatekeepers that we have at heavyweight. Pretty good grappling. He's pretty crafty on the feet, like we've seen in his win against Ante DeLiha, where he posed a bit of problems for DeLiha, got DeLiha in the clinch, cut DeLiha, damaged him, and overall just sort of like out crafty DeLiha in that fight. But Petrino, he's very powerful. He's very fast. He does fade a bit in the later rounds, and that could be a pathway for Spivak to sort of come back in the later rounds and like grapple him and like put a pace on him a bit, get him in the clinch, sort of wear out the fast twishness of Petrino. But I think Petrino can land those hooks that he loves to go for. I think he can land uppercuts on Spivak. I think he'll have a very big speed advantage in this fight. And also, I think he can contend with the grappling of Spivak. Spivak is a good grappler, but Petrino is as well. He's also very dangerous on the ground with his submissions. Um, and Spivak, I don't think Spivak's gonna be is gonna be used to someone who can like sort of contend on the ground. Is not be and be like nervous to get into the grappling and sort of not be afraid of his grappling. I think Petrino won't be tentative on the feet and like be waiting for Spivak to shoot in so we can defend it, and Spivak won't have that sort of advantage like he has in his previous fights against other contenders. So yeah, I think Petrino can keep the fight standing, and I think he'll eventually be able to land like a big hook or a big overhand or uppercut on freaking Spivak. And Petrino's also got a very fast jab as well. I'll see him landing that throughout the fight to set up his hooks in close and eventually hurt Spivak and put him away with one of those. So yeah, overall I got Vitor Petrino. Second round TKO. He lands like a jab on Spivak, and then he gets in there, land like a flurry of hooks on him, that hurt him, and he puts him away in the second. So yeah. Moving on, we got the main event, and it is Anthony Fluffy Hernandez versus Gregory RoboCop Rodriguez. I'm going with RoboCop in this one, man. I'm going with RoboCop. with a third round KO. Yes. RoboCop, he's very dangerous. Sort of good everywhere. He has massive power on the feet. He can contend in the grappling very well. He has a lot of credentials on the ground. Jiu-jitsu champ, like parent, like wrestling runner up and stuff like that. Um, but he's very powerful. A bit older than a freaking than Hernandez, but he looks like he's crafted by the Greeks, made out of marble. This guy, I mean, he's absolutely made out of mahogany. Rodriguez, he's so massive. I mean, how does he ever make 185? RoboCop, and yeah, um, Rodriguez is very dangerous, but he's very hittable. Does slow down a bit when it goes to the later rounds, and that's sort of a avenue. That's the most likely avenue for Hernandez to win this fight. He like wear down, sort of let me get my words about me. Take the power and like tank the power shots of Rodriguez early in the fight, and then sort of wear him down as he gets onto the later rounds with the cardio and the pace. But I think there's a very, very clear avenue for you to beat Anthony Hernandez. And it's that body, man. That body, it's so freaking like it's so soft. He's so soft to the body, Hernandez. At this level of MMA, you can't be like you're gonna get that exploited. I think RoboCop, if he's not entirely too retarded, I think he'll go to the body early on Hernandez. Get into the clinch, land like a knee on him. Also like land some body kicks, land some teeps as well on freaking Hernandez as well, and that open up the power hooks of Rodriguez and the uppercuts, and allow his body work to open up the head of Hernandez, where he can land those massive shots on him and eventually put him away. Maybe not in the third. I'm sort of rethinking that, but I think in like the first or second, he can land some body shots on Hernandez, go to the body early, hurt him there. Like I said, with a knee, maybe even like a front kick, and eventually hurt Hernandez to the body and put him away with that. I don't see Hernandez shooting on RoboCop. RoboCop is pretty good at in the grappling. Like I said, has a lot of credentials there, and yeah, I don't see this fight going like very going the distance very much. I don't see Hernandez sort of like surviving the shots of Rodriguez, getting his way to sort of like build up into the fight to where he can use his cardio and sort of overwhelm a tired and gassed Rodriguez. I think Rodriguez can go to the body early, hurt him there, and eventually put him away. So yeah, I would say second round TKO off a body shot from Rodriguez, off of like a teep or a knee to the body that hurts Hernandez and puts him away. So yeah, round 2 KO Rodriguez, RoboCop. Yeah, so those are my picks for this card. Like I said, RoboCop second round TKO, Vitor Petrino second round TKO, Rainer DeRitter, let's go second round sub, Mason Jones unanimous decision, Carly Judice unanimous decision, Anthony Witt first round KO, Le'Veon Douglas first round KO, Shamil Gaziev unanimous decision, Chris Padilla third round TKO, Mauricio Barboza first round KO, Gage Young split decision, Jackson McVeigh first round KO or first round TKO, and then Chanel Dyer first round KO. So yeah, those are my picks. Now I want to add a new segment to these videos. I want to see who is most likely to sell my picks. Who is most likely to not get the job done out of the fighters I've picked. So First round, like first runner up, I'm going with Vitor Petrino. Um, for like the first runner up to sell my pick. With like the way Spivak can maybe get back into the fight when Petrino gasses out. Um, I might be going with, I think my second round. I think I'm going with RoboCop to sell my pick. Maybe freaking Hernandez does like take the shots and RoboCop doesn't really go to the body like he should, and then Hernandez like sort of gasses him out, and then puts volume on him and wins the later rounds. He gets that done. Um, yeah. Also, third most likely, I think Carly Jadis might sell. With her having like those two split decision losses against those girls, I think she might be able to sell, and Chavez might be able to like sting her on the feet with a bit more powerful shots. And Jadis can't really compete with a slight power advantage of Chavez. That could be an option. Earn the most to sell. And my fourth will be. I think I want to say either Shamil or Padilla. Oh, I'll go with Shamil. I think Shamil might be the fourth most likely to sell my pick. Um, Based off of just his cardio alone. So yeah, I think those are the guys that are most likely to sell my picks out of four guys. Um, but yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you guys are gonna enjoy the fights. I'll be doing a fight companion this one as well. So stay tuned for that. And yeah, be sure to like, comment, sub, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.